serving the Chillicothe community and surrounding counties, providing exceptional care to over 50,000 patients every year. Whether you're seeking chiropractic care, physical therapy, or nutritional guidance, we've got you covered. From athletes to seniors and from pediatrics to geriatrics, we treat patients of all ages, helping you live pain-free, stay active, and feel your best. With a place in the top 1% of clinics nationwide, you can trust that you're in good hands. We're open 6 days a week, ready to serve your family for years to come. Haynes Total Health Care Center, where healing happens for every stage of life. Call for an appointment today or visit us at hayneshealth.com. I'm Jeran Cox, and to my left here is Matt Hoops and Christian Spradlin, and this is going to be our last show of basketball for the season. But, Coach, before we get to talking about basketball, I'm kind of surprised you don't have a Kenny Pickett jersey on over there.
Christian and I were talking about that. You weren't in here yet.
Kenny Pickett. Is that where the Browns are? I don't know what sense to make of that right now. I mean, surely he's got
It's
to
better
be
than DTR.
Oh, yeah. I feel like he might have been cut. We might have been able to pick him up a little bit cheaper than what we gave up.
And I don't even know 100% if the Browns know what they're doing at this point.
I don't.
They were in a huge fight with Miles. Now all of a sudden we love him again. Well, I don't know if I do yet, but that's a lot of money.
$160 million
for someone that's, I would say, he's not trending up anymore. He's on the way out. I mean, he's still going to be productive, but that's a lot of money.
He was what, the defensive player of the year not this past season, but 2 years ago. Yeah, had another solid season.
I mean, he's good, but we're paying him like he's in his prime for the next 5 years, which, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you started this show off on the wrong foot. Kenny Pickett. I mean, he plays football with gloves on, and you may need those in Cleveland.
He's got a Super Bowl ring.
That's the only. Yeah, maybe. We'll figure it out. I mean, we won't figure it out. We'll watch it unfold.
I'm really interested as to how that's going to play out, because everything I'm reading.
Did my Browns hat remind you of that?
It did. Yes, it did. I've been reading, Travis Hunter, but who knows? There's only one quarterback I would want from this draft. That would probably be Cam Ward. And if he's not there, then
I want a quarterback the next draft. Let's wait on the one from Texas.
I agree, 100%.
Get the Manning bloodline in Cleveland.
That's right. Here we go.
I mean, we've got it all figured out.
Back to basketball.
All right.
But no, here we are, our last show of high school basketball for this year, and it's been a really interesting week. We still have two boys teams playing. They made it to the Final Four, Minford and South Webster. We're going to be able to talk to Coach Shoemaker and Coach Pearson here in a little bit. And then we have two area girls teams playing for the state championship game. They won their state semifinal. Portsmouth had a really big win over Fairland, I think by like 23, 24 points, something like that. And then Waterford, they're having another fantastic season, as Coach Close always does. 26-1. They're playing for a state championship game. So we got four area teams left. I think, we'll talk about Unioda boys and girls here. I think it's interesting to note the girls team that beat Unioda, Avon Lake, they're playing in the state championship game. And I really felt like Unioda had a chance to beat them. So that's kind of
that one right there.
Yeah.
Hats off to that program for the only thing I can finding a way, because when I went and scouted them with Coach Miller, I would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they found a way to get there, and they're playing for a state championship now. They play Purcell Marion, so.
And Unioda played them earlier in the year.
Right. I would say this is the end. I mean, it's the end of the road regardless, but the fact that they made it there, that's pretty impressive.
It is. And then Unioda boys had a really tough loss the other night, led I think probably 30 out of the 36 minutes of the game. And I think there's one or a couple things that are interesting to note when I was watching that game. And I'm going to say it's a new rule. It was a new rule last year. I felt like not having a 1-and-1 really benefited River Valley that game, because I felt like they missed a lot of their free throw. The first free throw late down in that game to try to put them away, and I felt like Unioto could have got the rebound and come back. That's the first game I think I've watched. I really felt like that could have,
maybe played a role in it, and not shooting so early in the overtime, because that just carries over. Yeah. One other rule, and my daughter Mallory, who's been around the college game for a long time, that I think that the OHSA needs to look at. Everyone's talking about this shot clock. I think stopping the clock under a minute, so that games don't end the way that one ended, is something, and it's a simple fix. I mean, under a minute, baskets made, clock stops. Otherwise, you get into watching a game end as the ball doesn't even need to be inbounded.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because that's how we lost, but I'm saying that makes sense. You don't want to see a game end just by not even having to put the ball back into play. So, yeah, Mallory texted me when I was looking at my phone. She's like, "Wait, the clock doesn't stop?" Because she's been around college for so long, and I'm like, "Yeah, no."
That's the other thing I was going to bring up. That's a heartbreaking way to lose a game. I've seen that happen just where I've helped Coach Combs, Benton County, for a couple years, and when I've coached, I've seen other teams do it. It happens, but it's a terrible way for a game to end, because just kind of replaying the end. KB makes a layup, and then that's it. There's nothing they can do. I think Blake got the ball to either the other player or the official.
Yeah,
and you couldn't do anything.
As I was telling you before we came on here, it was right in front of me too, and I'm watching Blake. He grabs that ball immediately and hands it to the River Valley player, and I can read his lips and I can listen to him. He's literally pleading for help from the official as he's not having to count. He was asking for a timeout. I think he even said the words "help" at one point, because there was nothing he could do. He was literally helpless as his season came to an end, and just tough to watch that way.
Yeah, second game that night, boy, Maysville, they really showed up. They had like a 30-point victory, and Maysville ended up beating River Valley, and their advance into the state tournament.
I went back down Sunday to watch that game. Maysville's a complete team. They started the game on a 12-0 run, and that was the difference in the game. From that point on, River Valley crawled back, similar to what they did with Unioto, but just couldn't get over the hump. They cut it to 6, I think, once late. But River Valley was a really physical team, especially on the ball. Yep. And Maysville's point guard, he was really quick and kind of just was able to avoid some of that, some of that physicality. And, they're a good team. So we'll see what happens with what they do at the state Final Four. This is their second year. They won the regional last year as well.
Yep, absolutely. So we're later on in the show, we're going to kind of recap, just area basketball what happened this year. Talk about the league champions a little bit and all that good stuff. What we're going to do now, though, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have our first coach lined up tonight on the Edward Jones Coaches Hotline. Coach's Call-In Show by Sosa, also sponsored by Glow Fiber. Internet services for tonight's show are provided by Glow Fiber, delivering speeds and reliability that keep up with every need from streaming and gaming to business demands. Give Glow Fiber a call at 1-833-WANT-GLOW or visit glowfiber.com. So we are going to throw a curveball at you. We're actually going to do our recap right now as we try to get some coaches lined up. But we're just going to kind of go through each conference, coach, boys and girls, and you chime in when you want. And we'll start with the SVC boys basketball. Uniota, league champs, 13-1, finished the season 22-4, made it to the regional semifinals. Zane Trace, second place right there, a 20-win season, good season for them. They got knocked out in the district finals against Minford, and Minford, they're still playing. Yeah. And Minford, just 2 runs right there against Zane Trace, I thought was a difference in that game. Yep,
one to end the first half and then another one in the second half. But, really good season for both Uniota and Zane Trace. Not really that often that you see 2 teams from one league win 20-plus games.
Yeah.
So for those teams to do that, they've, those senior classes have been ultra successful in everything that they've played. And so it's no surprise to see those guys kind of go out that way, and I'm sure that'll probably carry over to the spring sports as well.
Absolutely. I think it's worth noting here as we move to our next conference to get our first one. We had 6 gold basketballs this year on the boys' side alone, and the first one we're going to mention here is Portsmouth Notre Dame. They won the SOC1, the small school division, 20-6 overall. 10-0 in the conference. They made it to the regional finals. As a matter of fact, South Webster beat them 36-34.
I think first time in school history that they've made it that far, and then for them to hold a South Webster team, I feel like that, man, they can score their basketball in the 30s. That had to be an intense defensive battle to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. As you get to the SOC2, if I can get that out, Eastern wins that division of the SOC. They went 23-4 overall. Another really, really good season. 9-1 in their conference. They made it to regionals also. So you're looking at two regional teams so far from the SOC.
They're doing something right down there. I can tell you that with their athletic programs. The football team makes it to the Elite Eight, and so does their basketball team with obviously a lot of the same athletes. So hats off to Eastern.
Yeah, absolutely. Good run they're having right now. Then you get to the SOC3. Minford, they win that side of the conference, 23-1 overall, 10-0. Second gold basketball, and they're still playing. They're playing for in the state Final Four this coming week. And South Webster, we talked about the SVC having 2 20-win teams. South Webster comes in at 22-3 also, 8-2 in the conference, and both of those losses were to Minford.
Yeah, anytime you can get two teams from one conference to the Final Four, pretty good accomplishment.
Absolutely. Then you flip over to the Frontier Athletic Conference. We got a chance to talk about them an awful lot this year. We felt like that was probably one of the most competitive conferences, top to bottom. Miami Trace, 23-1 overall. Undefeated regular season, 10-0 in the conference. They got beat in the district finals, and I think they lost to Steubenville, if I remember right.
Yeah, they did. And if you look back, they had to beat a really good Warren team in the district semis to get there, and just came up a little bit short there in the district finals. As you know, this time of year, it's all about matchups, and Steubenville's athleticism kind of won out in that one.
Yeah, that was that really tough Division III. You go down that list of schools right there, and Miami Trace, Chillicothe. You talked about Warren, and some other really big schools.
And with there only being a few in this area, it's kind of weird how they did their district, where they ended up having to play a team from the East to win the district. A lot of times you don't see that team until you make it to the regionals. Well, with so few D3 teams around here and in the East, that kind of they have to combine them, and kind of unfortunate that they saw their season end a little bit probably shorter than what they wanted it to.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving down to the Southern Hills Athletic Conference, Division I, North Adams, another 20-win season for them. And it seems like every year they're good. That whole side, Eastern Brown comes in at 18-5. They're always really good too. Those two schools just I don't know. But North Adams, another gold basketball right there. They got into the regionals this year also.
Right. Like you said, loaded conference, Lynchburg, Clay, Peebles, teams like that, always solid basketball programs in that area.
Have they got football down there yet?
I don't think any of those teams have it.
Yeah. I think they start playing basketball in the fall, and
they do.
They pretty much play it year-round.
I don't even know I think I may have told this story or not, but Combs used to talk about when he would scrimmage these shack schools, you'd go scrimmage them first scrimmage, and they'd already had their team shoes and couple presses in, and you knew you were just hoping you wasn't throwing the ball off the walls.
You didn't have to worry and get them out of football shape or too bulky because they've been shooting,
and they can
nonstop.
do that. That's for sure.
The Southern Hills Athletic Conference Division II, Leesburg Fairfield had a really good season. We got to talk to their coach a few times this year. 17-7 overall. Got beat in the district finals, I believe. 11-2 in their conference. So. Congratulations to those guys on a fine season. Also
another good program that year after year is having a lot of success.
Mid-State League Buckeye, we'll talk about them here briefly. A really solid conference top to bottom. You look at the records, you got 5 teams who've got more than 10 wins overall. Hamilton Township won that conference 17-6 overall, 11-1 in the conference. You look at teams like Circleville, they had a really good season. Logan Elm, they struggled a little bit, but those are really strong, good schools in basketball. You just know that's a really good conference just by when they played in the tournament. Unyota beat them. It's a close game. So
Unyota played 3 of those teams: Circleville in the regular season, and then Fairfield Union and Logan Elm both in the tournament. And I've heard on more than one occasion someone from Unyota, either a player or coach or someone involved in the program, talked about just how competitive Logan Elm was, and may have been one of their more difficult games in the tournament, and they come in at 7-16. So it says a lot about that conference and the success that they had.
Yeah. Going over to the OVC, Fairland, they win that conference this year, 14-0, undefeated, getting themselves a gold basketball, 21-2 overall. They did get upset in the tournament, probably earlier than what they would have liked. They got knocked out in the district semifinals at Waverly. But Chesapeake was right behind them. They finished the year 22-3, 12-2 in the conference, both losses to Fairland, and Chesapeake made it all the way to the regional finals before they got beat by Menford.
Right, yeah, just the other day. And, a really young team in Chesapeake, only a couple seniors. Fairland, outstanding season. Both of those wins against Chesapeake were in double overtime. I think they played twice within like a 2-week span. So another really good conference, really good coaches in that conference. Even Ironton, you talk about them coming in at 15-8 and coming off of a state football championship. So taking those guys a little while to get going, and just a very competitive conference. And Fairland was able to get through it unscathed, and obviously lost in the tournament earlier than they wanted to, but Coach Speed does a great job down there and always has a great program.
Absolutely. TVC Ohio, Megs ran the table down there, 12-0 in the conference, 22-2 overall, and Coach Davis's first year, and they got all the way to the district finals before they got upset by New Lexington.
Yeah, and again, Megs had an outstanding season. Vinton County again with their 20-something in a row of a winning season, which is unbelievable. And then Nelsonville York coming in with 14-9 had another good year too.
Yep, and then on the TVC small side, the Hocking Southern ended up winning at 17-7 overall, 9-1 in the conference. So congratulations to them. Flipping over the girls' side, Unyota runs the show in the SVC, 14-0 overall, 14-0 in the SVC, 21-5 overall. Got knocked off, like we said, in the regional semis by Avon Lake.
Yeah, another great year for Coach Miller and the girls program, and that's not going to stop anytime soon, especially because they have 4 of their 5 returning starters back.
Absolutely. Over to SOC1, Green, they had a really good year, 22-2 overall, 8-0 in their conference to win themselves a gold basketball. They got to the regionals also. We got to talk to their coach this year also. Yeah,
it seemed like we've talked about father-son combinations. There was a really good mother-daughter. Yeah, mother-daughter combination there.
SOC2, South Gallia, a gold basketball for them, 19-6 overall, 10-0 in the conference. Winning a gold ball is never easy. We've said that a lot. That is not an easy thing to do.
I think a lot of people forget about these kids grow up playing against each other, from the time they start playing in third grade. So the competitiveness of conference basketball in high school is you always talk about the difference between the first team and the eighth team. Say it's not that great because of the familiarity of everyone. So it's tough to go undefeated in a conference for sure.
Yeah, SOC 3, Wheelersburg and Menford both finished 9-1 in the conference. Both teams won 20 games, so quite an accomplishment there. And then you look, they've got 3 other teams that had more than 10 wins. So really competitive league down there in the SOC.
Right, and if I'm not mistaken, Menford made a really nice tournament run as well.
They did regional
Lead 8, I think. Yeah,
regional finals, I think, before they got knocked off by Portsmouth.
Yep.
FAC, Greenfield McLean. Gold basketball, 10-0, 22-2 overall. It just seems like McLean girls basketball has been solid since Coach Overstake's been there.
Yeah, it's a staple in that conference. Good season. Hillsborough coming in 19-5 with a fairly young team, so look for big things from them in the future.
In the Shack, North Adams, 12-1 in the conference, 18-7 overall. Coach Davis seems like he's been there forever now. I remember coaching against him. Another league championship. They're always a solid team. The Shack 2, Fayetteville, 12-1 in the conference, 20-5 overall. And then we'll finish up in the Mid-State League with the girls. Fairfield Union, 12-0 in their conference of gold basketball, 27-1, undefeated all the way until the Final Four. They get knocked off in the state semifinal. So quite a run for them there also.
Yeah, another conference with 2 teams that won 20-plus games with Circleville and Coach Bigham. Those guys, they do a great job every year as well. So, hats off to everyone that won a conference title and made a deep tournament run. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a long season. It takes a lot of time, and, it's well worth it. I've always said if you're still playing basketball and you can wear shorts again, that you've had a really good season.
And that's what we're doing right now, folks. So we're actually joined right now on the phone. We have one of our fearless leaders, Derek Webb. What's going on out there, Derek?
I don't know about fearless. I mean, I do work with Brock Netter. So
I'd be afraid every day.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
Call to the bullpen, right? We call to the bullpen. We got D-Webb 15 coming in.
I've never been on the show, so I don't know how this works.
Well, we'll walk you through it.
You guys do a decent job,
Well, your review's a lot better than Dr. Haynes's was, so we're gonna take it.
Yes, it was.
That surprises zero. Yes.
So Derek, you've been out and covering a lot of this basketball this year in Southern Ohio, and
Oh yeah.
We've still got four local teams playing here. We got 2 girl teams in the state championship, 2 in the Final Four for the boys. Just kind of talk about maybe what you thought was maybe some highs this year for the area in basketball and things that maybe surprised you a little bit.
Well, I think that you mentioned it, 4 teams. I think 4 teams in the state semifinal is the first time, since we've, started SOSA where we've had 4 in any season. I do think that, obviously the new division alignment has a lot to do with that. And there's, positives and negatives about that. But like I said, this is the first time we've ever had 4 in one season in a state semifinal, 2, of course, in a state championship. So, I mean, that's obviously awesome, for our area and for our district. Brock and I are busy. Usually during tournament time, we get to ride together to a couple of games or to the convo or whatever it may be. We haven't got to do that at all this year because we're at different sites. So I think, having that many teams and that much representation, from the district and from our area, it's probably the most notable thing that's happened this year. And then I have to, I guess, give a shout out to Menford. I mean, what a time to be a Menford Falcon. Their boys soccer team, their girls soccer team, both go to the state semifinal. The boys soccer team goes to the state championship game. Girls basketball goes to the Elite 8, and then the boys basketball team's now in the state semifinal. So that's obviously been really cool to follow. A lot of the same athletes on both of those teams. So it's definitely kept us busy. You mentioned, wearing shorts and watching basketball. That doesn't always happen every year. So we're able to do that. That's always a good sign for, our kids and our coaches in our area schools.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I think when you start getting into this 7 divisions, I think you're going to see it happen more often. And I think maybe the
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I've noticed, maybe this postseason, and maybe you can chip in if you feel differently, Matt. But I feel like there's been a lot more of like league matchups, like two teams from the same league, same conference playing each other, like in the district semis, district finals. It almost felt like to me, you go back to days where me and Matt were
Yeah.
playing. It was almost like the SVC tournament down at Waverly.
Yeah, and the thing with that is, like, I'm not mad about that because it could be worse. The competition sometimes that you have to play when it was only 4 divisions, the farther you go into the tournament, obviously is a lot more. It's a lot more difficult. But now that I feel like they've evened the playing field in terms, since they're not going to separate it private and public, this is the best thing that we could have to kind of even the playing field. And I think that you're seeing the result of that now. Southeast Ohio is starting to be able to become represented at the state level, not just one team, but like we've talked about with 4. And then people are going to complain about that and say it's watered down or whatever. But, we were complaining about it before when we couldn't get there. So, my thing is this: it's all about the high school kids and their experience. So why not make it the best for them? Now, do I think that there's things that need to be ironed out? Absolutely. There's got to be a way to find the Final Four back to, if not one building, somewhere close where you can have it all on the same weekend, because I think that's just the experience of it all, and we're going to lose that now because
that's the one thing I feel bad for the kids about is just I remember it was you made a weekend out of it. You went up to St. John's, and now you got state semifinal games at high schools. And it's just
no, it's not good. And my kids have said the same thing. Like, Dad, these kids, they were thankful because their whole life it's been a Final Four weekend for us, that we've done it since they were in first grade. I think I started taking them, but he's like, kids are missing out on that, which is not not the right thing, because it does bring families and people and everyone just together for one big event. But now it's so spread out, you can't do it until the finals.
Well, I think you're right on. Well, first of all, I think you're right on. Being the 7 divisions. I don't think it's watered down at all. I mean, you look at Waterford, Waterford's girls. To get to the state semifinal, well, they beat Berlin Highland, and that's not any type of laugher of a program. You look at Minford, they beat Sugar Creek Garaway and have to go through a 22-3 Chesapeake team. Obviously, that you got your work cut out for you there. South Webster has to beat a Notre Dame team that made a Cinderella run to an Elite Eight. Right after they beat, Norm Pearson said this in his interview the other night. They beat Fairfield, and then they go into a regional final and beat Notre Dame. All of our 4 teams that are in the state semifinal, Portsmouth beat Fairland for a 3rd time. They've had their work cut out for them. Now, having said that, like you guys said, talking to like Waterford's girls coach Jerry Close, after they did win their regional final, we were sitting on the bench after the game. And he did say they had to go to Dover High School to play their state semifinal.
Yeah.
And he said, the kids that were there last year, they're not going to get to experience what, or our kids this year, they're not going to get to experience what they did last year. And that was kind of the first time I really thought about that.
Yeah, it's got to be like, I don't know if letdown's the right word, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same.
No.
And the other frustrating thing too is like Portsmouth, they won. Now they have to wait another week.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be like Thursday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, and now we're waiting like over a week.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. Guys like Brock and I, about the end of basketball season, Hoops knows this because he's bugged me a lot about moving to Illinois at the end of basketball season, and then I take a job at 11 Warriors at the end of basketball season. So after the basketball season, we are just, we're done. Like we're like, okay, let's have a rest and relaxation week. Brock talked to me today and he said, hey, after basketball ends, I know that so with the 7 divisions, softball has now moved up to March 22nd as a season start. Usually that's March, and 30th, the last weekend of March.
Right.
They moved that up a weekend. So Brock tells me today, he's like, hey, after basketball's done, I'm done for a week. I'm sitting on the couch for a week.
Yeah.
And so I think instead of, it's always been so far apart, they could easily have, like you said, moved it to still one weekend or whatever it may be. But you're right.
Unless the only thing is Dayton Arena available because of the college aspect of it. That's the only thing I can think of. Usually once they start using that arena, the women's and the men's tournament has already started, where it's still maybe the end of the regular season for the men or the conference tournament for the women. I don't know how that works, but I don't know if that plays into it or not.
My question would be, I remember when I coached the girls and I had teams get to the district finals and regionals, it seemed like you'd win your district semifinal game, and then you have like a week and a half off. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I don't think we had that this year. And the other thing too, like we bumped the schedule from 20 games to 22 games. Why can't we extend the season another week?
Well, my thing is this though, and it never made sense to me, is because like how are we going to give that big of a gap between one set of tournament and then not? But I think a lot of that is the Southeast District.
Yeah.
Other districts aren't like that. Other districts start their sectional a week after we've already started ours. So we're basically waiting on teams to play at that point. And the Southeast District, I don't even want to get started on this, but like we got to get with the times on a lot of things in terms of tournament seating and things like that in the Southeast District, because everyone else does it different than we do. So,
well, the only other thing I would say is like John Buchanan from Fairland. You guys have talked to him, and he made a great point. The boys, almost every state semifinal, like Menford's playing at the Eco Center, South Lebanon playing at Ohio Dominican. Almost every other boys team that's playing in the state semifinals playing in the college campus. You've got Waterford girls playing at Dover High School. Our Fairfield Union team was lucky enough to play at Ohio Dominican, and Portsmouth Fairland played at OU. But there were so many girls teams, that played at high schools, and that really goes back to Jerry Close's comment on they're taking this experience away from kids. When you go to wherever high school, there's not the University of Dayton Arena.
No, and it's not OU, the Convo, and even Ohio Dominican. It's better than like high school campus. It just they got to figure it out. I don't know if they will. At the end of the day, it's all about making money, and in their eyes, and like everyone else is arguing, it's not all about making money. It's about these kids and their experience. That's what should be number one. They're making plenty of money off of it.
Well, bottom line, I do think that 7 divisions is correct. I think they've got that right.
Yeah.
But, to your point, Matt, I think that, if they iron out some details and put, the tournament at the same spot on the same weekend, I think that's great. And, Menford's boys, that, they play on a Thursday, Saturday to win a regional title. And now they play on, if they would win and beat Lutheran East, they'd play Friday, or Saturday, or whatever it may be, but it's a weekend.
Again, I think you got to find a way to get it all in the same weekend, because that's the fun part of it is as a fan, you go watch the semifinal games and you almost get to know, I don't want to say you get to know the teams, but you're very familiar with them by watching them play in their semifinal game, and then you watch those same kids come back and play in the finals. It's almost like you become a fan of those teams, or you're rooting for certain upsets or certain teams, and now I just think you're not going to get that. I would say attendance per game is going to be worse probably at the state finals than it has been in the past. So that's not what we want.
I agree. I've met many people up there at state championship weekend, and just talking to them in passing, and they'll say, "Hey, we got a room in Dayton. We're going to a couple places in Dayton, and we're coming to every one of these games."
Yeah,
you're not going to have that anymore.
No, you're not. It's
that was just like an experience. I remember me and my dad would go up. I'm sure you probably the same way, and it takes away some things.
So hopefully the OHSA will look at that and say, they always ask the coaches, and I don't know how much stock they put into it, but they do ask, and we do a lot of times tell them, hey, this is what we want, this is what we'd like to see happen, and I don't know how much that plays a role in it or not.
Well, this weekend, obviously we're going, all out again. Brock and I will be in Dayton, and then we have John Bruce and sorry, my voice is cracking. It's like I'm going through puberty, I guess. John will be in Columbus, and then in St. Clairsville, and so we'll obviously have full coverage. So I'm very, very happy for the 4 teams that did make it, and they all deserve it. But I do agree. I wish and I hope that we'll be on the same weekend, and make it both easier for parents kids, coaches, but guys like us that go and cover the game as well.
Well, and I think, and you think too about it, each individual school district trying to get, all these kids that want to go to these games. Well, they're all over the place now. You're not just everyone going to one place. This week when we got to travel here, maybe we got to take a pet bus farther than what we would really want to take one. But if we're going to the state tournament, then it's a little bit different. So there's a lot of factors into it that like everything, we've said this 100 times. Maybe this is the first year of it. You take a look at it and say, hey, well, we can fix this by doing this, and hopefully they do that.
Derek, out of these 4 teams that are left, is there one team that you really like to maybe come away with the state championship, or one matchup that you specifically like this weekend?
Well, I tell you what, both of our girls' teams, Portsmouth and Waterford, have a great chance to win it all. Portsmouth, they just play. Their defense is just insane. They're so fast, and they use defense turning into offense on the transition. And then Waterford, when I talked to Coach Close, he was talking about playing Fort Loramie and how that was a staple program in the Southeast Ohio. And I'm like, well, dude, you've won 8 regionals in like the last 9 years. You're a staple program in Southeast Ohio. But their lineup's great. I mean, even anytime you got a Navy Wagner and a Kendall Surrey in your lineup, you're going to have a chance. And Fort Loramie is a really good program, but I do think that, both the Waterford and Portsmouth have a chance to win it all. And then I tell you what, I like Minford and South Webster's chances in the state semifinal. Talking to Coach Pearson after their regional final win, I think they thought they were going to get matched up with Rushi, which is spelled Russia. And I always thought it was pronounced Russia. But
did John Bruce happen to correct you on that like he did me? Like he gave me a whole dissertation on it.
He did not. I can't remember who said it, and I was like, "Who's?" It was Tony. It was Tony Williams from the Southeast District. He said, "I think they're going to match up with Rushi." I'm like, "Who? What are you talking about?" Yeah. And I was like, "You mean Russia?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, they're they're fighting Vladimir Putin's Russia." And so
tear down that wall.
Yeah, right. But I think they should be thrilled that they're matching up with Cornerstone Christian. I think they got a shot. They got a lot of really good players. Obviously, the Roberts kid's good. Dylan Schupert, Hunter Barnard's right there, flanking him and on the offensive side. And they got a couple role players that can play. And then, of course, you all know about Minford. But I tell you what, Minford, Jackson Shoemaker, I know that Bennett Kaiser and Miles Montgomery get all the headlines. But Jackson Shoemaker was huge in that Chesapeake win. And he's like the Commissioner Gordon if, Bennett and Miles are Batman and Robin. So I think they always have a shot.
Yeah.
I really do like all 4 of our team's chances.
Just to speak on Minford, I was at that game on Sunday against Chesapeake, and their defensive intensity, I didn't think they could ratchet it up to another level. Well, that second half was insane. Only gave up 5 points through, I think, the first 13 minutes of the second half, and just – Chesapeake couldn't even get a shot off, and when they did, they were just glad to get the ball out of their hands. And that's just my perspective. And, the thing on Jackson Shoemaker, right place, the right time, ice water in his veins, knocked down 2 huge shots, and it almost allowed Minford to just play even that more carefree. And anytime a team like that is playing with nothing to lose and carefree, and they're really good, you go to the Final Four. And Coach Shoemaker and I talked about it right after – they finally got that monkey off their back and won that district tournament. He's like, now our kids can relax and play. And I said, man, that's a very, very scary thing because of how talented they are. And I think they have all the pieces. Those guys play their role extremely well. And I wouldn't be shocked at all to see them advance to the finals.
Well, and I think they believe that, they've got a little help from a higher power. And I believe that too. If you see their pregame warm-ups, and I know you guys might be talking to Josh tonight, and this is a great question to ask him, but they've really embraced. The first game I saw them at Shawnee State earlier in the year, back in December, they all came out in warm-ups that said Jesus won. And I mean, it's kind of a bold statement in today's landscape. And so I talked to Bennett Kaiser after the game. I said, dude, you got to tell me about these shirts. He's like, man, this is our mantra this year. Like, this is what we're embracing. This is what we believe. We think, we know that if no matter what happens, we've got a higher power. It was just really cool to see them, embrace that. And they're just they're a good bunch of kids. And they're goofballs, but they're a good bunch of kids.
They are. And the other thing I want to add to that is, like, they wear those shirts, and like, you also see them, like Miles and Bennett, with their Carhartt coveralls on sometimes after games, like legit embracing where they're from. Because I've talked to Miles's dad just numerous occasions, and we'll talk about, you know, him having to get his chores done on the farm before he goes into the gym to shoot at 6 a.m. Like, this is like legit Hoosiers stuff, like Jimmy Chitwood out on the farm before he goes and gets his 1,000 shots up. But, like, you know, this is who these guys are. They're not afraid of it. They embrace it, and it's been fun to follow, to be honest with you.
And he'd say nothing about it either. He'd say, yes, sir, go out and do it, and come back. That's the best thing about that kid.
Yeah.
So
that alley-oop for Menford the other night, is that one of the coolest things you've seen at the Convo, Derek?
Oh, disgusting. It was you do not see plays like that at the high school level. I mean, you both know that, and you know, obviously, like covering Uniota's teams, Matt. I mean, I've seen plenty of dunks from teams that you've even coached, and I mean, but to go up with it behind your head with one hand and slam it down, I mean, it was a great pass, and I mean, Bennett Kaiser just he calls Miles McBuckets, and might be the other way around. So
yeah, here lately it is. I can tell you that, and Miles is completely okay with that, which makes him a great player too. Like as I was watching that game the other day, he had 2 points at halftime, came out, had a pep in his step, was ready to go. Just what a great kid, what a great player. You know, 2,000 points. You think, man, this kid might be down a little bit. Nope, you'd have thought he had 20 at halftime. But no, that dunk that sent me to the exits. That was the one I said, yep, this one's over.
Yeah, absolutely.
First team All Ohio kid too, on the soccer pitch. So
yeah,
I mean, he does it all, and a farmer.
Yes. And a farmer, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Goes to church on Sunday. There's nothing this kid can't do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Derek, we appreciate you calling in here tonight. I think we got a couple coaches lined up and ready to go. So, again, thanks for calling in and talking to us. Good to hear from you. I really enjoy the dub cams. You know, those are really cool to watch. But no, we appreciate it. We appreciate you letting us come in here and do this year, and we've had a blast with it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I feel a little disappointed because, like, my whole life or career or whatever, Derek's been asking me. I didn't get to come up with a good question to ask Derek.
The shoes on the other foot.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Well,
really weird.
2 quick things. One, KB Perkins got fouled on that last shot against River Valley. I'll leave that alone.
Why are we talking about that, man?
And
we've
2,
moved on.
Brock and I really do appreciate both of you. I mean, you guys done a great job. I can't wait to see where the show goes. And even though you got to work with Christian behind the scenes, I mean,
tough.
You guys have fought all odds, and you've beaten odds.
Every team needs a glue guy, right?
And Christian's our glue guy. You're right. I like it.
Elmer. That's his new name.
Fellas. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Derek.
All right. Thanks, Derek.
We'll see you.
Okay. No, it's good to hear from Derek, and you know, he's right. He and Brock, they are all over the place, man. And the amount of time that they spend covering all these games, writing the articles, and it's no wonder why anything to do with Sosa has a lot of
it's really
success.
impressive, and I really feel like those guys have kind of taken journalism into the new era of what it is. You know, right or wrong, newsprint has kind of fallen by the wayside. Everything's digital now, and Brock and Derek have, you know, they started in the newsprint industry and have kind of just, man, they've embraced their, you know, talk about every team embracing their roles. These guys have taken their roles, taken it seriously, and the best thing about it is it's impacted so many young athletes, and not just the athletes. It's, you know, families, you know, have the opportunity to read and watch and see all the things that they do, and the live streams allow people from all over the country to watch, and you know, that they're the reason for all of that.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've got our first coach on the line tonight. I believe we've got South Webster boys basketball coach Norm Pearson. Coach, you out there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Hey, how's it going, Coach?
It's going pretty well. Yeah, everything's going fine. You know, just playing it day by day, or maybe you can say hour by hour.
You didn't have a chance to get out and get around to golfing today on this nice day, did you, Coach?
Yeah, I'd love to, but I can't. Not right now. You know, too many things on my mind.
Yeah, I hear you.
Let's talk about some of those things that are on your mind, Coach. You know, you've led South Webster to the Final Four, and you know, South Webster, they've won a state championship before. You know, family relative of yours led them to a state championship, and here you are bringing them back. And had a really, really close game, the regional finals, a 36-34 win over Notre Dame. And now you're going to square off against Cornerstone Christian, and they've got, a phenomenal score. And just talk a little bit about, maybe some of your initial thoughts about this game coming up.
Well, we know that he's just one remarkable player. He can score so many different ways. And then I think the one thing that really impresses me about him so much is that, he can find the open man. So, if it's kind of like, well, we're going to double team him or something. No, you can't do that because he's a great passer as well as he is a great scorer. There's no reason. I mean, he's the all-time leading scorer in the state of Ohio when he passed John Diebler. So, we know we got our hands full against him. They got some really, really good athletes around the rim. So, we just got to be prepared for what we got to do best and try to slow them down.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing is, I think they're typically a high scoring team, but that last game, they were held to 42 points. And so I think that, with your kind of style of play and the kids you got, I think that's probably where you want to be at, I would guess, probably somewhere around in the 40s. And, that just, is it a game where you are going to try to slow it down? You're going to try to speed them up a little bit, or just kind of what's your strategy going into this game?
Well, we're going to play the way we normally do. Yeah. I mean, we're an up and down team. We like to press. We love our transition game, and then when we get in our half court sets, we got to make things happen. Now against these guys, it could be totally different. I'm the type of guy that you just don't change things this late in the year. I mean, the kids are adjusted to the way they want to play. The big thing we have to do is know where Krizek is at the entire time. If we don't have anything in transition, then we got to make sure that we're not forcing shots. And I think that's what we did a little bit the other night against Notre Dame. We shot the ball terrible, and that's not accustomed to our team. We've been a really good shooting team almost all year. And we get points from almost everybody that's on the floor one way or the other, whether it's in transition, set offense, or offensive rebound. So, we just got to take what's given to us and do our best.
Coach, I got a question for you. Obviously he's the state's all-time leading scorer, but it's not like you guys haven't played against really good players this season. Do you kind of just draw maybe from your experience? Because every game you have a game plan. You go in, okay, hey, this is the other team's best player. We're going to try to take this away. We're going to try to do this. Is it something you kind of maybe just relay to the guys, hey, we've played good players before. We're going to have the same approach or the same mindset as we did, may say against the Miles Montgomery of Minford, something like that.
I was just gonna mention that to you. I said, you got to look at our schedule, mm-hmm. and our schedule for us being a D7 team was brutal. I mean, we played Minford extremely close both games. I mean, both games were there for us for the taking. It just didn't happen. And now they're in the D5 state tournament.
Right.
We played a lot of other teams that are really good. Fairland. We played a team out of Indiana that's loaded. North Adams team was very good. We played an excellent schedule. And I think our league is if not the best league in this area, but it's one of the best because you got so many teams that can, just bury it. A perfect example of that is Wheelersburg. They didn't have a very good year, but then they knocked down Fairland, and they were this close to knocking down Chesapeake. So, yeah, we just think that our league has prepared us for this. I know the Minford game has prepared us for this. And like I said, Miles Montgomery, he's just a great player. He's very similar to what Cornerstone Christian has.
Yeah.
He's stronger. than what their player is. But, at the same time, we've been able to play against people like that all year.
Right.
So, it kind of gives us a little bit more momentum going in.
Right.
Cornerstone Christian is very, very, very good, but they don't have a Kaiser like Minford does.
Right. And I've never seen
that kid he's just off the wall. He's off the
unbelievable.
wall,
And I'm not sure there's a faster kid in the state of Ohio with the basketball in his hand from one end of the court to the other as Miles Montgomery. That kid is phenomenal.
That's what he does, yeah. And Miles can do so many different things,
Right.
He can hurt you from the outside. He gets to the rim. He hurts you defensively and things of this nature. So we've been there before. We played against Fairland.
Yep.
They got one heck of a guard. And
Buchanan. Yeah, he's outstanding.
The worst game we played all year, or maybe the worst game we played in my coaching career. We were just never in the game. Just never in the game. It was almost like, why do we have to be here, And whether, as a coach, I sit back, well, these guys were looking ahead for Minford, who we had coming up the following week, because that was what the SOC is all about. So, who knows, you never know about how kids are going to react, 16, 17-year-old kids. But the kids I got, boy, they lay it on the line. They play hard. They play great defense. We share the ball. We move the ball. And I think we're a fun team to watch.
Well, Coach, I think that's the one thing, when I think of you just as a coach, and, you've been doing this for so long, but your teams are always really well-schooled defensively, patient on offense, working for that really good shot. And this isn't the first time that you've been, to the state tournament. Is there, maybe a few things that maybe you've learned from previous experiences, maybe you're trying to get your kids to do or understand this week to get when you get to the Final Four? Some kids, their dream is just, let's make it to the state tournament, let's get to the Final Four. Is there anything you can draw back on from some of your experiences to maybe help them relax a little bit and realize, hey, it's a game and it's there for the taking for us?
Well, it's just, it's like I told our kids all along in the tournament. I says, and, we have it up on our board, all the teams that we're playing. And then if we beat them, we scratch them out. And then we got the next team that we're playing. And then at the end, it says Dayton. And, but, it's just so difficult to try and deal with something like that because, these are kids. Kids are kids.
Right.
Yeah, and they all wanted to be in the Final Four, which we are. They all want to be at the championship game at Dayton. It's just so unfortunate, in my opinion, why all the teams are not playing in Dayton in the Final Four.
I agree, 100%.
Exactly. Okay,
you know what it does now? It takes away. It makes you have to say, we want to be in the finals. And
exactly.
It cuts so many dreams in half because of it.
Yeah, it's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to the community.
Exactly.
You're still in the Final Four, okay, which is
awesome.
Everybody's dream.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, you're taking away, just like you said, the atmosphere and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how can that be dissolved? It's simple. Okay, you're doing games on Friday and Saturday. Why don't you do them Thursday, Friday, and Saturday like they used to do?
How about this, Coach? We started to do them on Sunday now, too. Sunday's not off the table. You can go 4 days.
Exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And I don't even think you need to go 4 days. 3 days should do it. Here's what you need to do. You don't have to clear the gym. Why don't you just, you sell your ticket for a two game thing, okay?
Right.
So like it's D7, okay? The D7s right now, okay. We're playing both D7s.
Right.
One game's over, next teams are coming on the floor.
Yep.
There's so many different ways they can do it, and it's not my job to deal with this. My job is to coach my basketball team, but you're taking it away from the kids, and that's not fair.
Exactly. And I think that I think that the girls' state tournament was like that. Like you got one ticket for the 2 games of the semifinals. I mean, so they've done it before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think that something definitely has to change. Obviously, we're extremely excited, and you guys are all excited to have this opportunity to put yourself in position to play for a state championship. But boy, it'd be a lot better if it was all in one weekend. But
exactly, and that's how it used to be. I mean, and we were talking today. Okay, we're going to Ohio Dominican to play. Okay, nice gym, very nice gym.
Yeah, for a summer
holds a
shootout.
decent crowd. But you cannot have your pep band there because they ain't got enough seats.
Nope. I agree, Coach.
So they said no pep band. Okay, and then the other situation with that is that I was told that when Eastern Pike played Monroe Central, who's a very, very good team, Monroe Central. I mean, they're loaded. I guess they played them one on Friday, and they turned people away. And people had tickets in their hand, and they wouldn't let them in the door.
Yeah,
because it was already packed. Now, how does that happen? Think about it.
Yeah, well, it happens because they weren't prepared for a community to show up like they did, and they thought this was just going to be good enough. And if the OHSAA can't open their eyes and figure this out and wake up and see, this is something serious. It's a pastime. It's huge. It's a huge event, and they need to get it right.
Exactly. I mean, in our community, they follow so much. I mean, this place is right now, it's just going crazy. You're in a Final Four. I mean, wherever you go, everybody wants to do something for you and your team. There's signs all over the place, all over in the community. And that's great for the kids. I mean, you've earned that. But the situation is being, how do you reward the kids for doing this? And like I said, hey, we're going to play the High Dominican. We're going to give it our best shot, and hopefully we can get the date in that.
I guarantee you this, Coach. You could tell them we're going to play this in the semifinal or in the city park, and you guys are going to show up and play for the opportunity to get to the state championship game. And I just can't thank you enough for calling in, Coach, and giving us a few minutes of your time. We know how busy you are, and wish you nothing but the best of luck, and hopefully I'll see you in Dayton in a week and a half.
I appreciate it, and like I said, anytime you need anything, feel free to give me a buzz. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Good luck, Coach. Okay. Yeah. The thing that is just so mind-boggling to me, I hate to beat a dead horse,
right?
But I expect them to win Friday. I'm going to be honest. I do. On March 14th. They don't play again until March 22nd.
Yeah.
That is just.
And here's the crazy thing is we're not bringing it up. It's obvious. Everyone's talking about this. This is everyone talking about it. So
yeah, it's crazy. So I believe we got our next girls coach lined up. We got our only girls coach tonight. We got Portsmouth girls basketball coach Amy Hughes on the line. And Coach, I got to give you some mad props before I even let you speak. I think I mentioned this to you last week.
She's a genie.
The first time we talked to you, your goal was state championship. Well, here we are. We're a state championship weekend, and the Lady Trojans are still playing. After a big 63-40 win over Fairlawn. So why don't you just briefly talk about that big win, and then we'll get to the state championship game here soon.
Okay. Well, I think that is one of the best defensive performances I've ever been a part of, ever witnessed. They have 3 girls that average, 16, 18 points a game. They had 3 at halftime total.
Between the 3 of them?
Total. Between the 3 of them.
Whoa.
1 girl had 3 points. The other 2 were scoreless.
Wow.
So, if you want to shut down someone's big 3, I think
that was the formula.
That is exactly what we did.
Start selling that recipe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess I'm just super proud of, my dad and the game plan, and super proud of the 9 girls that carried it out. Great week of practice we had last week. And it was really almost flawless. So that's what I would say about the Final Four win over Fairland, I just think it's one of the best defensive performances I've ever been a part of. So.
Yeah, I know. We talked to you, I think it was last Monday, Coach, and it was your first practice in preparation for that week, and you talked about how well it went. Girls were excited. I'm assuming that continued on throughout the week. And man, if they don't believe that you win the game through the week, that was definitely an example of it. It sounds like it.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and this week so far, I know you're getting ready to ask about that, but so far Monday and Tuesday we've had. Really two good practices working on Norwayne and, some of their strengths and some of the things that we think they'll throw at us. And, some of, and their big three, that they have playing. So, we've been working on that for 2 days and we'll continue, tomorrow and, Thursday, take it a little lighter. So, if I have to, say right now, I mean, we're ready. We're getting there. So,
yeah. How does their big three compare to Fairland's? Obviously, I have no idea.
They have a tall guard. She can shoot the three. She can drive to the basket. She can rebound. She can take you off the dribble. She can post you up. Thin, but she's 5'10", 5'11". They have a good size post player. Really strong. 6 foot. I don't know. I think maybe they list her as 6'1". So 6'1", 6'2", I guess. She's thick and she's strong. She's a freshman.
Oh,
but,
boy.
Yeah, but she is really good size. And then they have another player that goes along with those two, that we would consider, just right behind those two. Those are the two best players. I'm not going to even try to pronounce their names, but, anyway, but the third player is pretty decent also. She does a little bit of everything. So, like I said, we're gearing up for those three, and their post game be a little bit different than, Fairland's. I mean, their post player, Godby or whatever, you just backs you in and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Not this girl. She just runs you over. So, yeah, she going through you. She ain't going around you.
Sounds like you've been practicing the charge drill this week.
yeah. So, but yeah. So they're a little different. The guard is a little different. She's not just strictly a 3-point shooter. I mean, she can put it on the floor and go to the basket, and that's probably her strength. So that's not exactly like Fairland either. So, and she's fast. I mean, she has speed and she can get around people. So it'll be a different type matchup, but not one that we haven't played in our 26 games. I think I don't even actually know how many we've played.
27 games.
20. Okay. All right. Thank you. I have to ask Deja in practice daily what our record is. So.
1-0. It's all that matters, right?
That's all that matters. Yeah.
So you mentioned one of the girls was a freshman. Like, in terms of like the rest of the roster, the girls that contribute or play, are they junior, senior heavy, or a mixture of a little bit of younger kids? How does that work out for them?
I don't really know any of their grades, to be honest with you. Someone mentioned that the big girl was only a freshman, so that's actually where I got it from. I could even be wrong. I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm not really good with their grades or the pronunciations of their names. I just know their numbers
and what they can do.
Yeah, and what their faces look like. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah.
Well, Coach, you talked about their big three and maybe some problems that they might cause for you. What problems are you going to cause for them, you think?
I mean, I think we're playing well offensively. I think we've, hit at the right time and, we've peaked at the right time. I think we're driving the ball to the basket well. I think our passing is really sharp. I feel like our focus in the games is laser sharp. I mean, we're just really just determined and focused and, we're not going to throw the ball all over the gym like we might have game 10 or game 15 or something like that. We're really going to take the extra second and throw the correct pass. I think we're driving to the basket well. We're getting production out of everyone that's on the floor, and it doesn't really matter who's on the floor. So we're using all 9 in different ways, and I really think they've all, they love their role. They love They love their team, and they love just being a part of all the success, and they all contributed in some way. So
yeah, I think you just hit a really big point, because I think that I've seen a lot of talented teams over the year, but sometimes they peak too soon, right? Sometimes they peak like Christmas time or early January, and then they just kind of flatline a little bit. What's been, how do you overcome that, or what are some things maybe you do as a coach to just prepare, or maybe not let your team peak too early?
I think we learn from our wins, and just as much as we learn from any losses that we have. I mean, it's we're not ever satisfied. So I mean, that could be an annoying feature for some people, but in all honesty, not for my kids. They want to learn, they want to get better. They're extremely coachable, which in high school girls basketball, I don't really know that you find that you find that 100% of the time. But I don't have a kid on my team that's not coachable. Always wanting to learn, always doing what's asked of them, always striving to get better. And we really practice at a high level. There's no half speed or walking around or kind of doing it. It's everything is you're doing it, and you're doing it full speed, and they really kind of embrace that, which is really kind of cool. So that's not something that you really experience in high school basketball either, girls or boys, to be honest with you. But I can't I can't say one bad thing about attitudes, effort, coachability, nothing. They're all really pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's great, Coach. And we talked about 27 games. It's going to be worth the wait when you guys lift that trophy up after 28 games and allow them to be satisfied, because I guarantee you it'll be worth the wait. We wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. I think you guys have a really good chance. Stay doing what you're doing. Don't go away from that, and bring home a state championship to Southeast Ohio.
Well, that would be really nice. We'd be super blessed if we could do that. So we're really hoping and working for it this week. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Coach.
Good luck, Coach.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
The interesting thing, Coach, we were talking about before we came on the air tonight, I was looking up all their rankings on Max Preps, and it has Portsmouth is ranked number 2 in the state of Ohio, and Norwayne ranked 61. And so, no way,
good thing you didn't bring that up to her, because I
Yes.
think she'd have shot that down.
Yes.
But that is interesting.
No way, shape, or form am I saying it's going to be a blowout, but I think it shows that Portsmouth should be favored to win this game.
Yeah, and the other thing I think it does, because I'm sure Max Preps, it's got all of the schedules, all of the win-losses and strength of schedule. I'm sure all of that plays a role into it. And for Portsmouth, I think it says more about Portsmouth than it does the other team being ranked second. Like, that just says that they're obviously a good program. They played good teams and they've won.
Yes.
And, like I said, it'll be really cool if they're able to bring that thing home this weekend.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have one more coach lined up on the Haynes Total Healthcare Coaches Call-In Show. Coach's Call-In Show by Sosa. We got our third and final coach on the line tonight. We have Minford boys basketball coach Josh Shoemaker, and
wouldn't be a show without him. I mean, how many weeks in a row is this?
Yeah, he's been taking all of our airtime here recently, but you know what? It's the first time in school history they've made it to the Final Four, so we're going to allow it, Hoops. We're going to allow it.
We'll let it slide.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Good intro.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect, man?
You guys just don't used to have me this late in the year. That's a problem. You're usually on there like,
listen,
we're here, boys.
If it was proper, you'd think something was wrong with us. So.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Coach, I was going to start out tonight by asking you. You know, last time we talked to you, I think Coach Hoops mentioned to you, you finally get that district championship win, and I think you made the comment like, we can finally relax and play. And
100%.
I feel like that's kind of what you guys did last week, late in the week there with two more big wins at the regional. And just talk about your kids' performance there.
Oh, man. It's crazy to think about. We played last Friday against Sugar Creek Garaway. It seems like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
We finally win the district, and they said it was relief, but then it was, okay, we're here, so let's keep going. And had a week to prepare, which is a long time for the kids, but for coaches, God, that was awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Awesome. Because then we were, and the scouts, well, I've been so impressed with our kids, and it starts with Coach Richard, but they amplified them in the tournament by like 10 times what we ever thought they could do with them. And it's like, hey, no older set play and all that stuff. No, it's just tendencies. And that's what our kids have been really just focusing on. Like, what's their favorite move? When do they cross? Where do they stop? And that's what I've been so impressed with the kids leading that regional. And they just did it. It was the Raver kid, he had 3 the game before, 30 game before that, 47 one time, and really, really good. So we just said, hey, we scouted him and put bodies in spaces and just don't let him get loose. Like, let's try to shut him down. And, man, they did a good job. Ashton Reeder just bought into the game plan, and he did it better than we could have, ever drew up. They just took it to another level, and that's why I think we're in the Final Four. These kids are playing well above our coaching limits right now. They're doing a tremendous job, and that's where, against Garaway, they set the tone. They just played so hard. Garaway was exhausted. In the game, they started bending over, and we look at each other like, turn it up. Come on, Bennett. Get up on that press.
That's exactly what happened. I watched that game, Coach, and you could just see them just like almost just wilting. And you guys were amping it like we can go even higher, and you did, and it was just so impressive. Those guys, you just almost like just choked the life right out of them with just your defensive intensity was insane. And then I felt like maybe a little bit in the first half of the Chesapeake game was, it was even 2-point game at halftime, but again, it was like you guys flipped that switch at halftime, and the defense set the tone for the rest of the half. And I felt like I looked at the clock, and I think 13 minutes in, Chesapeake had only scored 5 points in the second half. And just a credit to your coaching staff and your defensive, game plan for the kids and the way they carried it out, man. They were playing with so much confidence, and it was really cool to see.
I appreciate it. And you hit it at every spot. I mean, that's what happened. But it's fun to see that, when all the kids buy in the defensive game plan, when your best 2 players play on D. Miles Montgomery didn't hit a 3 at the Convo. Not one.
No, I know that. I just made the comment earlier. I don't remember who we were talking to. I think we were talking to Norm about, the guard that they're getting ready to play against. I'm like, listen, you've already experienced the best guard in Ohio, in my opinion, with Miles. And to watch him come out in the second half against Chesapeake, he had 2 points. And you'd have never known if he had 2 or if he had 30 at halftime, because he still had that energy, he had that pep in his step. He was still talking, he was still leading, and it was just, it was almost just refreshing to see a kid not care about his point total, but getting his team, to the next step, which he was able to do.
Yeah. Won't Jeran just interview you and act like you're me because you're saying everything probably better than I would? That's 100%. Really, that's a good. It's good analogy and it's good analysis. No, what's funny is people are like, "What do you say to him at halftime?" They came fired up. Well, here's how it really goes down. We walk in, we see Kazee, who is a great player and can flat out shoot it. Has 11. Yeah. Every shot he took was a contested shot that he had worked for.
Oh,
And like, so we're like, okay, great player, good shots, man, good job. But the point guards get the rim, but we had their center had none. Jack did the perfect scout on him, would just guard him well, and that kid's a good player. I don't want to, Chesapeake's at 22-3, like they're really good. I don't want to put anyone down. Like
I mean, their two
Webster
losses
earlier.
to Fairland. I mean, 2 of their 3 were to Fairland.
In overtime.
At double overtime.
We're up 2 at half, and so we go in. We're like, all right, they've worked really hard for their scores, and they're playing great defense. We'll get to that. But Miles, you have 2 points, so it comes back to what we said all year. If I told you guys beginning of the year, you can pull a card, but here's a card you can get, or you can take another chance. You're up 2 at the regional championship. 3 guys got 2 fouls, not that bad. But Miles, you have 2 points. You think we'll be okay second half? Yeah, okay, just go play your game, Miles. He still could hit 3. But what was great is he just pushed the tempo, and then Jack had a great third quarter, but then he 2 of those were off rebounds that Miles went to the rim hard on, just making guys get back. So it gave Jack space, and he got his hind end down the floor and did what he's supposed to do, make plays. And Miles, the thing that I was so impressed with is he going to the thing timeouts. A lot of timeouts now, because they're so senior leaders, those guys just start talking a lot. And finally, I step in like, all right, shut up.
Yeah.
So, but it's good conversation. And Miles was just telling him, he's like, you guys are fine. I'm not hitting tonight. I believe in you. Like, just score. Like, I got you. And it was one of those, it was like, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
If Miles Montgomery is like, I could give a crap less. Guys, I'm not hitting a 3. I don't care. But the reason why he's not hitting 3s, because he guards. He's got a lot of mileage on those legs.
Oh, man.
AAU and everything else. So
soccer,
it's natural.
everything.
Well, and every defense right now is a lot better than it was beginning of the year.
100%.
That's why you don't see blowouts, why you don't see 70, 80-point games. Guys been in the gym, and that's what coaches, you think about practice now, 70% of the time, a lot of these coaches are probably just screaming defense, how we're going to guard them. So, yeah, and look at Chesapeake's defense was great. We've been waiting for something like that. They put, the big center down at the post, just on the right block, saying, you ain't getting here, Miles. Bennett, you're not getting to this block tonight. And they retained him in 3, and other kids up the foul line, and it took a while to adjust for, but what we did for the tournament, we're like, we know they're not going to guard Reader. We know it's coming. And then Cade, if you're not hitting 3s, because there's a game Cade Glockner hit 6 threes, but it's a combo. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So we're like, you got to be an athlete. If you ain't shooting that thing, get to the rim.
Yeah.
Don't just get here, let's go. Yeah. So all we did for the tournament, we're like, that's going to come. So we just told Bennett and Jack, you guys are guards. Caden, Reader, you're the bigs this game. If they run that defense, Reader set 100 ball screens probably, sold his body out. And that's when Bennett started getting loose a little bit. And when Cade drove, when Jack hit the first 3, that was off a Cade drive to where he could have chucked another 3. No, he made a freaking play.
Yeah.
And kicked
Made
it out to
2
Jack.
guard 1, and
Yep. Knock it down a domino, get an advantage.
Yep.
And so the next time Miles comes down 100 miles per hour, Jack's trail. Miles hits another 3. That's when we went up 8, timeout peak. And you could just see, like you said, you see it. You can see it in the boys. You're like, it's coming. Come on, let's go. Like, announce the time. And then we talk about, you talk about, Cade making plays. Reader was great defensively. I haven't talked about Bennett. My God, when your best players, him and Miles, but really when Bennett is on top of the ball, wanting to guard and press and getting on the floor and, just playing. You talked about no one caring about stats. These kids could care less. They're having time of their life. Yeah. And that's just what's fun. I just have so much fun watching these kids because, again, they're taking stuff we never thought they could do right now. Just defensive efficiency. Chesapeake didn't score their first field goal till 3 minutes and 38 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I believe it. I watched it all unfold.
And foul shots.
Yeah. You just talk about the intensity that Bennett's playing with. Okay, so he made one of the best plays I've seen in high school off of that lob dunk. And you know what? He could have celebrated that then. But you know when he celebrated? When he deflected the inbounds pass because he was still locked back into playing defense. Like, that gave – I got goosebumps right now just talking about it. But, that gave me goosebumps watching that unfold because the dude just had one of the best high school plays you could have, a dunk in the regional finals. And then he's so locked into what he's doing defensively, he deflects the pass, and then that's when he's allowed to celebrate. He allows himself to, dude. It was just, it was awesome.
Probably the best – and I'm being serious on this. Like, they just developed into this. Like, they've worked hard, but it's just the maturity hit, and they all kind of it just clicked. It's not like we just we're lucky to coach this group. We really are. We work with them a lot, but they took some stuff like that to a level that you just really don't coach. You can't coach kids like Reeder and freaking Cade and Kirk Glenn. My God, Kirk Glenn's had an amazing tournament. He's our 6th starter right now. He's playing as much as the rest of them. He's been his most important piece as anyone else. He's just a pest. Yeah. Our biggest thing was going into the tournament for our role guys are like, Ben Miles, let them cook. Let them go. But you other role players, you can't just be role players. You got to play like you said, Dennis Rodman from The Last Dance. You got to be a pest. You got to set screens. Like Rodman said, Jordan Pippen were the greatest players ever, but they never won without me. So that's what we told the role guys. You guys got to be absolutely great because Miles Bennett, just let them play basketball. Let all these other cats worry about all the little stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing going into this week of saying we're not the quickest team. We know that. We're playing 3 out of 4 times defending state champ, Lutheran. So now it's just like we got to do the little things better. We don't got to change anything. We're not going to, slow it down. You don't do that. No. You're not running continuity offense. Yeah, well, not just that. You're not running continuity offense against Lutheran East. My gosh, no.
They might take you out of that.
You're getting 2 dribbles, and you better get, triple threat. Guys better come to the ball. You better cut. You better move. You better get our best offense will be when we get a defensive rebound. When they don't get a defensive.
And you better box out and go get them, too, because those aren't going to be freebies.
Yeah. And that's if you still get them. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the whole point is the little things got to be right if you want a chance to win. Right. And we believe we have a chance to win, but it's a lot of things got to come together. And that's why it's nice to have a full week to get focused and say, we're playing a whole other animal now.
And the other good thing, too, is, Coach, it's not a series, man. It's just one game. You got to be one point better than them at the end of the night. Go. So
get them on a bad shooting night, get them in. But the one thing I will say, though, and we talked about it's been a heck of a ride, but man, the kids deserve the credit. They really have. They went above and beyond what we thought. You talk about the press, some of our rotations, because people have asked, how do you run your press? Everyone wants to do it. Well, here's the thing is, we don't coach it. It's scramble. Sometimes Bennett will trap. Sometimes he won't. But sometimes Miles will rotate off a trap to go get Bennett's guy. It's not a call. They just go find the closest man. You freaking got to bust your butt. Mm-hmm. You got to sell out. And you got to scramble. Every time it passes me, you got to move.
Yep.
And they've all bought into it. And you can't teach that in drills. It's just kids who play for each other and really just flat out get after it. It's been special to see, but yeah, you can't just coach at it. A lot of credit goes to those kids.
Coach, talk a little bit about, and I've seen it, over the years, and I even saw it with this year's Unioto team. They only had 3 seniors, but man, it's just something different in a senior's eyes once that tournament starts. I know our 3 seniors at Unioto had a really good tournament. Didn't get them to where they wanted to be, but it's just. It's a different look. It's a different feel. It's a different act. They practice different, kind of just, and obviously that's the same thing that you guys are doing, but just kind of talk about that. Even with all the success they've had, how much different has that been since this tournament started?
It's everything. You don't, every now and then I got to bark. Today I'm barking hardcore because first day back practice, we didn't get on the floor yesterday.
Feel good about themselves a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, no. If you guys want to do this, like, your celebration's over. Like, it's going to take everything we got to prepare. But I don't have to do it a lot. These guys are bought in. But it's as you said, it's not, has nothing to do with statistics anymore. Care less, it's all about the defensive end, playing your assignments, and they buy in hard, and they're loving the tendencies right now. Where's this first dribble going? How many times can the guy go to his offhand? Does he cross it, put it on his back? Just the buy-in, and it's not more of this is their job. Hey, it's what you got to do. It's they want to know. They want every single piece of information they can get. They're watching film, and it's just refreshing to see because they know.
Right.
Wow, this is something special. But it also, we could have got beat against St. Trace. And that's what Gene Collins talked to our kids. And it was funny. And it kind of took on, he just told him, he's like, oh, you guys go to work. You went to work your whole life. You never got paid. You didn't win that district title. Once you guys go get paid for once. So now Jack hits a 3, so I got paid. And it's just funny how little things stick, but it was just something little like that. But that's what they talked about. Just keep focused. And then who knows, see where this ride's going. But right now, it is special because these seniors know, and that's what we've told them. It's your last dance.
Yeah.
So, and credit to your Unioto kids. I watched that game. great game. River Valley, we've played with OU, super athletic, super quick, defensive laterally, physical,
very strong.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
But when they walked off, they couldn't be like, oh, man, we didn't compete. No, you guys could have won easily. I mean, you just ball didn't go the right way a couple possessions. But then you watch them go on and compete against Maysville. I know they got beat. Maysville's another monster, but
I went and watched that game.
We didn't give them our shot. They didn't try to stall. They didn't try to do anything dumb. They took right at them.
Yeah, they were who they were, and you know that's what makes it. You know, not that you can ever accept losing, but you can accept it when you show up and you are who you are, and it just didn't work out. You know, so that's the tough part about the tournament is when you see kids do that. And then they come up a little bit short. You know, that's the hard part.
I think you mentioned it too. When we lost to Warren, it might have been our best thing. It's special to go undefeated, but who gives a crap if you get beat in the tournament?
Right.
And that was the big thing is I think after Warren, like we thought we should have won because we scored 69 points. We gave up 71. They played amazing. That's Warren. They're good. But we've walked off the court. We're like, let that one get away. We don't like how that ended. You know, that turnover.
Terrible feeling.
They scored all. Yeah, scored inside on 2 seconds left, and we're like, that didn't taste well. So then I think we hated to lose more than we loved to win, and that was kind of was our turning point of when we go play great Southwestern teams or we play some of these other really good schools. We're like, we hate to lose. We're not scared of it. We just hate it.
Yeah, you can't be afraid to lose because anytime kids start playing that way, then it's a terrible thing. But man, you gotta hate it for sure.
You have to, and that's where it comes from. These seniors, they hate to lose, hate it, and it's awesome. And it's not, you don't make excuses. It's like, no, you don't make losing plays. You freaking, basketball's a quick sport, and that's probably the hardest thing this week is we got to play our style, but you also hate to lose. So you can't just go out there and play free and this week when you take more than 2 dribbles, they're coming.
Right.
So you might have to pick it up and get jump stop and someone else come to the ball because you got to elevate your game. You got to be smarter. So but it's still at the same time you want to give a Bennett or a Miles free reign to create because it ain't set plays this week. It's super quick adjustments. It's don't turn it over, live ball, let them get a run out layup, no lob passes. You better step through traps. You better get your elbows out. It's like you said, you better box out, and that might not even be enough.
Let's go, man. So I'm ready to go now.
What is it?
I said, let's go. I'm ready to go now. I love all that.
No, that's what I mean. It's what you said. I am too, and that's what we're talking about. We're like, we're not just going to sit back in a pack 2-3 and walk off the court saying, I wish we would have, done a little more of what we do.
Right. But
then again, you can't play so loose, and then you're down, which we've seen it. They blitz teams. Mm-hmm. They show up. They're the boy on the block, and in that first 2 or 3 minutes, they show you who's the 3 out of 4 times defending state champion. And a lot of teams, once someone settles in, they're already down 20.
Yeah.
And then they'll start playing their style a little bit, and you're like, all right, what's the mix? Well, you got to get through the first 2 or 3 minutes. Right. Don't let them bully you.
Right.
And then basketball starts happening, and you hope your guys don't freaking mentally check out and keep moving.
I agree. And I think one of the biggest things, and I'm sure you've already talked to your kids about this, is don't let one mistake turn into the second one. Like, you're going to turn it over. You're going to turn it over. But don't let that turn into a run-out dunk because I decided I'm not going to get back on that because I'm feeling sorry for myself. So,
Or
I don't think your kids will do that.
8-9 from the crowd. Yeah, don't hear 8-9 count from the crowd and they're all screaming, get it across.
Yeah.
And you chuck a lob.
No.
And then they come down in hammer time. It's like, no, you take the 10-second count
and hand it to the referee
and set up your defense. Just say good D and just chuck it in the stands. Take a deep breath and set up your defense. Don't throw a lob pass against that press and they get a run out layup because you're scared about a 10-second count. A 10-second count will be the greatest turnover we have. That means we held it 10 seconds trying to break good press.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, sounds like you're ready to go. It sounds like you're getting your kids ready to go, and we're
you got me ready to go.
Yeah, I see the goosebumps on Hoops.
I wasn't lying when I was talking about that deflected pass off of the turnover. Like, that doesn't usually give people goosebumps. Dude, I was jacked. Like, that was like, that's my I'll coach that dude any day.
We've been blessed to have a season of that. That's what I mean. Like, I'm just right now, and that's what you've won a lot. And these coaches who won, like, I've got a lot of texts. Like, man, just enjoy it. Just absolutely, because it's never happened. It might never happen again. So we better enjoy it. But at the same time, we're not happy to be there.
No.
We want to go give our best shot, and when we walk off, we'll be like, we gave them our shot. We didn't sit back and do the traditional, let's just hope it's close to halftime. Nope.
Yeah.
Got to go back.
What's that saying? We didn't come this far to come this far. Like, that's we didn't just. This is not why we're doing this. We came this far to win the whole stinking thing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
go do it, man.
Yep.
It's fun, like you said, and then you had a couple other really great coaches. My wife told me that Norm was talking nice, so I said I better say some nice stuff about them. But no.
Does that mean your wife was tuned in and you weren't?
He's fun. I saw him dancing. Like, my gosh, that's freaking awesome. He's been a legend forever. The fact he's still doing it, winning, is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you're talking like I've done it 20 years now. You've done it for a while. I feel like I'm 70 years old. I'm looking at him. I'm like, how the heck is he still doing this? My God.
I mean, I felt like when I was playing, I graduated in '96, and Norm's Chesapeake team knocked us out of the tournament. I thought he was old then. I mean, that's 30 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a Norm story. Yeah, when I was playing, we were at the Convo, Sammy Goo. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever
zero.
Yeah, so he put about 25 on us, and a great guy. But yeah, we thought he's a big slow kid. Yeah, about 25 on us, make it look stupid. But
Stud.
I just remember I chucked a half court pass, and I thought, it's 2 seconds left, Convo, no way they'll get this. Chris Lovely grabs it, shoots it from half court. I'm walking under. I just see the ball go through the hoop. John Strickland's in my ear. You stupid idiot. I'm like, God, play. You are a stupid idiot, Shoemaker. Like, why do you? So when it goes from like we're 12 hanging on to 15, it's like we're done.
And then they got all the momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that was done. We were Strick was done. I ruined the game. So yeah, Norm's ruined a lot of us. And then Amy, man, I love that team. And our Medford girls, they did so good. And I told Chuck and Brent, girls, I'm like, you guys did as good as you can, but my goodness, when you guys come out of halftime, you're like, okay, we got one more half. And Portsmouth's like, we're just getting warmed up.
Yeah.
They're just, it's not just quickness, it's not just athletic ability. They dribble so well.
Yeah.
Girls, and I don't know why, girls back dribble so much better than guys do. It's amazing. Just you can see they all come out with the basketball in their hand when they're warming up. And you're like, those girls have put a lot of time in, and they're just fun to watch. And I think I told Amy earlier, I said, she was coming to watch, her and her dad come to watch some of our games. I think they're coming to Webster. And I just said, hey, good luck, whatever. But I said, I really think your guys' state tournament loss last year is what makes you win this year. Like you could see them and you just talk about a different mindset. Yeah. I've watched some of their games. They don't get caught in the moment. They've played an amazing schedule. They're not too up. Like I think they're going to bring home state championships. So good luck to them.
Yeah. I mean, we got 4 local teams playing, and we talked to Derek, our leader there earlier, and he likes all of our chances here. So we're counting on you to get the job done there, Coach.
Well, it's going to be a task, but we're excited. It's fun. I'm excited.
Hey, Jeran put that pressure on you, okay? I didn't.
There is no pressure. That's what we said. The greatest pressure's on Lutheran East.
Yeah, they got to win. They're expected to win.
We beat Afrocentric. Yeah, what is it?
I said they're expected. Like to them, it's just Medford. Like you guys, they don't know what they're getting into though.
Well, they think they just had their state championship game in Richmond Heights, which might have been. Those 2 teams are amazing. However, it wasn't. They still got to play, and hopefully they're coming in on a high. And I think we played Afrocentric last year. It wasn't the greatest Afrocentric team, but still Afrocentric, very good. Played at Ironton. I think we beat them by about 17. But before the game, I asked one of the kids, I said, you ever heard of Muletown? And he said, no. I go, well, you're about to find out. And then he started laughing at me because he didn't take me seriously, which I was trying to be serious, but I'm not. So, as he's laughing in my face, but that's why I'm going to ask TJ Crumble, you ever heard of Muletown? Well, you're about to find out. And then if he laughs, I'll take that again. But if he gets serious, he's about to find out.
It's a win-win for you.
Yeah, it's a win-win, yeah. Try to get them off their game.
Well, Coach, man, obviously a lot of respect for you. You're a good friend, and the fact that you call in and listen to us, for the last couple of weeks, just extremely happy for you, your guys. From a former coach, and then also from a father coaching his son, to watch Jack have that moment. Again, it gave me goosebumps. I was I have no skin in the game, but just sitting up there enjoying it, and really happy for you guys and your staff, and I'm, really pulling for you guys to pull it off this weekend and play another week, man.
And that's what's fun. I appreciate you guys, you and Jared. I mean, you guys, we've all coached, we've all been there, and we're living we're living what we all want for each other right now. And you guys are pulling for me. Same thing. When you guys have the regional, like it's the same thing. It's like when you put the time in, you see kids playing the right way. It is good to have that support. And man, we've had a lot of good coaches around here. Just, hey, come on, go get them, you know.
Yeah.
And here's what's funny is it's not like that all around the state. When we get 20 films from a Garaway, I'll just say it now, it don't matter. Or we get 20 in Lutheran East films. Kyle Pertus, he's an old Minford alum. He and coach at Lynchburg Clay, he helps us out. He was at Coshocton, and he's got a lot of connections.
Right.
So when it's the next day and we get 20 films, I'm like, I don't think those guys are as tight in Northern Ohio as coaches are in Southern Ohio.
I mean, I
get a Webster content, I just delete it. I don't even say, oh, no, they're a league team. I'm like, no, I'm not getting crap out.
Right.
So
yeah, that's
so anyway, yeah, it is good camaraderie, and we're in a lucky position to, you know, be there right now. So I appreciate you guys.
Yep.
All right,
thanks, man. Coach. Go get them.
Good luck.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
He's wound up, dude. He's ready to go.
He is ready to go.
It's what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
Was he play Friday? 14th. No?
He plays the 15th. That's Saturday.
Also Saturday. Yeah. Man, he's got an extra day.
Woo!
I hope he doesn't hit a wall.
No, I hope he doesn't. I don't think he's going to.
No, he'll run through it.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap up our season, our basketball season show. Do have some breaking news here. For the first time ever, SOSA is going to host a coaches call-in show in the spring for all of our spring sports. So, you know, baseball, softball, track, lacrosse, any other spring sport we may not mention. We're going to have this show in the spring starting in a few weeks. Make sure you stay tuned for that. If you're a local coach or an athlete and you want to come on the show, contact me, Coach Hoops, Christian, anybody that works for SOSA, and we'll do our best to get you on there. So, Matt, any final thoughts? We close up basketball season?
No, I just thought, basketball's a long season. I felt like, I don't know how many shows we did, but I felt like it went extremely fast.
Yep.
I don't know if it was my first year not coaching or what, but, it was an extremely quick season. I think that this show, evolved as it went. I think I learned a lot. I've never done anything like this before. Just thank you to all our sponsors, being able to recognize so many different athletes and talk to so many different coaches. And I just think it's a really cool thing for our area. And I'm glad that it's going to continue into the spring. And I just think it's going to hopefully just continue to be better each time out. And, best of luck to the 4 teams left. Hopefully out of those 4, we can get a couple, if not all state championships, which would be really cool for our part of the state. Absolutely. You talk about our sponsors, and it seems like about a year ago we did that 21-day cleanse with Dr. Haynes. I mean, that seems forever ago, but just a couple of months ago. Right. So, yeah. But no, time's flying. Like he said, appreciate all the sponsors. Appreciate you coming in, Matt, and Christian across the board from us over there, and Derek and Brock letting us do this. So I think that's all I got. So we're going to log off for the final time this basketball season, and we'll see you back here in the springtime.